Yeah, I put on my this is for this is for the pod. I do this for the pod. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I put on my reporter hat. I went undercover. I we're going on 15 years now. I could be making that up, maybe even longer. I don't know. Somebody fact check me. A separate reporter fact check me.
Roger that. It's just
The
crazy knowing this story you're about to break and not knowing this bit of information. But no, go ahead. I got you.
right.
It's just actually insane. I feel like this is the first thing you find out before.
Yeah, but it's just so obscure. It's just hard to even look back that far.
14 years, my friend.
14. Wow. Okay. Well, 14 years. That's so crazy, dude. I'm gonna save this for after. 14 years ago, the quote-unquote game Star Citizen was launched, and besides the people who play it, I think anybody else would tell you it's kind of shitty and like a scam.
As of November 2025, combined crowdfunding and early access sales have reached nearly US $900 million.
That's a lot of money, dude.
It's going to cross $1 billion in 2026. It's got to.
And every now and then I look in this game, and you'll hear a story exactly. You'll hear like a new story, like funding has reached 800 million, 900 million, almost $1 billion. And you'll just hear about it. And every now and then they'll have like a free weekend. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you want to play Star Citizen, you can technically download it for free. But if you want to play the game, you need to buy a package. Now, the minimum package, I think, is like $40, $45 maybe. I don't know. And it gets you just like a basic little ship, and you can play the game. And I guess the packages, is where you get most of the negative hearings about Star Citizen. This is also the place where you could buy an $800 ship, or a $300 ship, or a $600 ship, or I don't even know the limit. It's probably in the thousands, right? Now, they've gone on record many times saying, like, obviously we wouldn't expect the normal person to buy these ships. This is only for people who want to support the actual development of the game. And on paper that sounds good, but like, they have to know there's like some people just like mentally, it's not, I guess it's not their responsibility, but just some FOMO people that are buying some. And like I said, I named the big numbers. There's still dozens of ships that are like 45, 60, 70, that you could just chip away at, you know what I mean, and lose a lot of money.
Dude, if they were being charitable like that, it would just be a pay what you can. You know what I mean? Like, no, they know there's going to be whales.
Certainly. But anyways, but every now and then they do have like they call it like a free fly weekend, where you can, without the pass, just get in the game, and they'll have like 3 or 4 ships you can fly around, and essentially you can just play for free. So I hopped in, and I posted several videos early this morning in the gaming chat. Just little clips of me playing. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, obviously, even 14 years later, a lot, if not probably most, of what they promised is not in the game. Partly because they were just saying just some insane things, just some like Peter Molyneux things. But, what I actually got to play over the last, I didn't play that much. It was probably, I don't know, 8-9 hours over like 2 days. I had a lot of fun. I mean, it was pretty sick, and I was actually, I kind of sometimes impressed by like the actual systems in the game. But then there were plenty of times where like we'd have 8 people together, and we'd all be in this fucking giant ship, and everyone would be on a different part of it, and it was like you're working a real crew, and then boop, the ship would disappear, and we'd all like just reappear in the hangar, and they'd be like, "Dang it, it happened again." And so it doesn't seem like a rare thing. So there was plenty of that too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to just, totally glaze the game.
Oh, dang it. The goddamn.
Yeah, literally. Like, oh, dang it. We
ship
get in there again. You know what?
again.
It was crazy. When I say I put on my reporter hat, all right. So originally, like I said, got on the free weekend. There's tons of, I don't know if they're just trying to recruit people into the cult or what, but you go in the chat, there's tons of friendly people in there. Anything you ask, they'll help you with.
Too
You know, if you want to just like try a ship, somebody like, yeah, fucking dude, try my ship. So, you know, I asked somebody, I was like, hey, is anybody doing a cargo mission? And then I guess this is something they added within the last few years, like physical cargo. You know, you like go to a location, you have to, you know, go into the launch bay, load it into your ship, and then, you know, just drive it somewhere else. And, you know, pirates can attack you or you know, other stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, whatever, hop on in. So we did just that. It was very, very simple. He had like a little cargo. He had like the big ship. I didn't ask him how much it was, but, you know, far bigger than whatever they let me use in the free weekend. And had like a cargo like tractor beam in it. They like had a rail system inside that you can like move up and down to grab like the big crates and stuff. And then obviously, you know, somebody on the outside could have their own little handheld cargo beam. And yeah, he moved it in there. And hey, I mean, it really did feel like, I don't know, like a space simulation. And, you know, that was cool. You know, I was kind of messing around. But then yesterday I was playing. And I was just, I mean, you know, only playing 9 hours, it's hard to know where like the ceiling and the walls are. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
You know, maybe the game was just a tiny bit bigger than I'm you know, reached out and I was almost at the walls of it, but it didn't seem like it. You know, so I literally spent like 2 or 3 hours just walking around like a spaceport, just kind of seeing the different things. Like it was that cool. But in the middle of it, you know, there's a global chat going on, and somebody said like, I'm looking for a gunner or a new player. And immediately I was just like, what are we doing, boss? And this guy, he sent me an invite to a party. And I was like, okay, I'll join a party, whatever. But then he's like, hey, if you guys are down, I need you to join this Discord. And I was like, oh, man, this seems like a lot. And I was like, you're not going to, I actually did ask him, you're not going to steal my credit card, are you? And he said, it was kind of funny. He said, no, I'm not Indian. I'm from Indiana. And I was like, oh,
hell yeah, brother.
He won me over by that. If he wasn't Indian, he would have won me over anyways.
You told him you knew a couple good Hoosiers, right?
Well, we ended up talking about it. It's crazy. This guy's wife, actually, Flash, this guy's wife lived in, I don't know where they live now, but funny. I know, small world.
You didn't hear the sound town.
But anyways, so yeah, I did. I ended up joining the Discord, and they were like, all right, dude, we got to get you suited up. And they gave me like a whole new suit and armor, and they brought me to this is what I found out later is a buyable, only out of game for $800, or I guess you can make the ship in game. They weren't very clear in that, but I guess it takes like months and months of work. So I think somebody there just bought it. So it was like this $800 ship. I mean, like I said, I posted the videos. Absolutely massive. It had like 6 turrets and like, you know, a torpedo guy and like a pilot and a co-pilot. And we just went on there, and he flew us to this, I guess.
What station were you manning? What were you responsible for?
I was in they called the hip turret. You can sometimes I in the video I zoom out to the third person view, and it's kind of hard to see though. But I was just mostly just a turret, and I think I was on the left side. You know, I'm just a grunt there, just doing my part. You know, just hanging in there. But it was pretty sweet. And so, and I don't know, I think they were coordinating with like another group on TeamSpeak, because like I said, we loaded in the ship, and then we flew to like a planet, and there was already a battle going on. And, you know, we took the massive ship, and we made like a dive towards the Earth, and like, you know, 3 or 4 people jumped out, and they ended up going into this cave. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if this is like a normal PvP event or like a mission or something. Yeah, I was just there to shoot. But then, you know, we had to leave. We had to repair and then come back, and, you know, there's still fighting going on. And then eventually our ship went down, and then we had to take like refuge in this cave, and then they called a separate crew, and then they came with a different ship, and then they picked us all up, and we flew away. And I mean, you know, like with all the jankiness, and then, you know, thankfully during that whole period there was no teleporting to the hangar. But like, you know, for all the jankiness that I had, like I can't deny that it was probably the most fun I've had in like a big space game. You know, this game gets compared to No Man's Sky a lot, and I can say, and obviously for many reasons there's not really PvP or like that in No Man's Sky, I don't think, but like I've never had anything close to that kind of fun. You know, in No Man's Sky, or even like I've tried Elite Dangerous or even other space games like that.
This
Yeah,
one really made you feel like a Star Citizen.
Really does sound like an adventure you went on. That's sick.
Yeah, but I guess that's all with the the caveat that was off the back of somebody's actual $800 ship, and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not like, I guess. Well, actually, I really feel like anybody could get in there and just say, "Hey, I want to do it," and they pick you up because it's literally what I did. But you yourself could not, I guess, access that ship.
I think
I had a great time.
That's cool.
I posted the video on there.
I bought a ship over a decade ago in Star Citizen, and I never played the game.
It probably should still be there, or at least if for whatever reason it isn't, they gave you your money back. That's how I understand it.
I don't know.
How much money did you spend on a ship and whatever it was?
Probably.
It was a free weekend, but I just bought the basic. Oh, ton of flat.
Probably $20 or so, $20.
Okay.
It was probably cheaper back then, dude. They knew
several
several
of us spent like $20 or so on a ship for Star Citizen back before it even was like playable at all.
It's true. Slacker has a ship too.
Repeat what you said there. You said technically the game's free to play, but you have to buy a package. What the hell does that mean? That doesn't.
No, I didn't really say that. I said so. They have free to play weekends, and like you can download the game and have it ready and wait for those weekends.
Oh,
but if you just wanted to play the game, you need to at least buy the very basic, like I said, $45 package.
Okay, and then you can play it whenever you want.
Yeah, and then you can play it whenever you want. And like I said, so in my understanding is, currently, because the game is, and for the last 14 years has been an alpha.
Jesus Christ.
There's no like in-depth consequences, so whatever. If you blow your ship up, it's not like it really goes away.
Yeah, that would be
as
huge.
opposed to the real game.
Your $800 ship could just vaporize.
Well, that's the thing, though. I guess in the real game, you're supposed to, I guess, have to buy insurance on your ship.
The real game that's not out.
They will go away. Exactly. The real game's not out yet and it hasn't been out for 14 years. So like,
it's coming though.
It's just a live service game. It's just it's an early access game or whatever.
Pretty much.
I mean,
so like I said, while they haven't delivered on so much of what they promised, I just can't deny that I did have fun on the weekend.
And that aligns with the takes I've seen from people who played the game, that it's a fun enough game to play even right now.
Well, ultimately, the point of a free weekend is to motivate you to purchase. So, how do you feel? Are you going to buy a $40?
Well, I did. I got the little basic pass. I was,
okay.
Obviously, I'm not going to go further than that. Well, and I guess I don't know if I said that. There are these ships that you can buy, obviously out of the game, and they're quote unquote to support the development. But also, I don't know how many. It seemed like dozens and dozens and dozens of ships you can buy in the game with just the in-game money. So it's not like you have to just. Obviously, the first one, you have to buy the initial pass to play the game. But after that, you can get many cool ships without. Now the economy, I don't know. I don't know if you have to grind or whatever, or how all that works. The people I was playing with, it seemed like they've been playing a while because they were just handing out millions to people. So I'm not sure.
Cool.
So yeah, that was my adventure into Star Citizen.
Yeah,
very good.
Tune in next week to hear me selling my car.
I wonder if I say this about Zomboid, but I feel like they're definitely at a point where they make more money continuing to make the game than they would release the game. So I feel like I don't know if we're gonna get there.
Here's the Kool-Aid that I was given. All right, so I will pass it around to you guys. All right, from the people I was talking in game, and I can almost collaborate this, but not totally, because we did try and play this about 2 or 3 years ago. I think very briefly on another free weekend. I think me, Greg, and Danny, and even a lot of the systems that are in the game now, like the cargo thing I was talking about, like a whole mining system, they weren't in then. So there's been a lot of improvements, but. The guy was telling me that the single player, I don't know if you remember, this is
Squadron 42.
Star Citizen's only part of a 2-part system, I guess. The single player game, Squadron 42. Apparently that was what was taking like the bulk of development time and space. and that game is actually set to come out this year, and that's why there's been such big like jumps in Star Citizen in the last year or two, because they're just polishing up Squadron 42. Now they're working on Star Citizen, and then Squadron 42 is going to come out, and then give them even more money. And as the guy was telling me, and I was like, dude, that's what I was in my head. I was like, dude, if you weren't so nice to put me on your $800 ship, I might make fun of you. But I was like, all right, nah, still, let's see it.
Yeah, can't wait, brother.
Like, let's see it, brother.
And then Squadron 43 fucking next year. Yeah.
And and I haven't been following Squadron 42 as much or at all, so I don't know how many times that's got delayed. I'm sure it has many in the 14 years. So hey, we'll see. We'll see. 2026 is their year.
Apparently, as of like 2 months ago, December 2025, they said it's now fully playable, over 40 hours in length, and still on track for 2026.
See, dude, that's where the guy got the cool. That's the Kool-Aid bowl right there, dude. That's where the guy scooped out. Just handed out to everybody. I don't know. Hey, that's Star Citizen. That was my experience. Had a pretty fun time.
God, I can't.
Thank you for your reporting.
I hope that in the future we're living in a world where this game is so good we can't stay away, and it ends up being the space adventure that it was always promised to be. I really do want to be in that world, as fun as it is to clown on the whales who spent 14, 15 years supporting this game,
The perfect space society game has always been one of the biggest dreams of gaming history.
We've tried a lot of them, and they've all kind of failed. But I would love to live in that world.